Canadian children are among the least active in the world. A Participation study gave Canada its fourth straight D- in kids' activity levels. That compares to data from 37 other countries and puts us towards the bottom of the pack. Australia, England, the U.S. also scored D-. Just 9% of Canadian kids get the recommended 60 minutes of heart-pumping activity a day. That compares with 86% of boys, 76% of girls in Slovenia, the top-rated country in the study. CTV's Janice Golding joins us now live with more details on the report. Janice?
Ken, we all know how important it is to be physically active and to get our kids moving, and yet the results are startling just how little physical activity our kids are actually getting. For the first time, Participation compared its results from its annual report card with those of 37 other countries, and as you mentioned, overall we scored a D-. Joining us live right now to talk about the results is Elio Antunes, the president and CEO of Participation. Thanks so much for joining us, Elio.
Thank you.
Now, can you describe or discuss some of the highlights, or I guess in this case, the lowlights of this report?
Well, what we found was that Canada, like many other developed countries, even though we have access to a lot of physical activity spaces, places, and programs, we score low in our overall physical activity levels. And 9% of kids meet the physical activity guidelines in Canada. And we found there's really three areas where we rank the lowest compared to the other countries. The first is active transportation. Only 25% of kids actually take an active mode of transportation, like walking or wheeling to school. The rest are driven. You know, active play was also scored very low. We tend to keep our kids inside and not let them outside and play. And then the third was screen time. We have one of the worst screen time ratings of F across the entire globe. Kids spend well over 8 hours a day in front of screens, and the national guideline is less than 2 hours a day.
So what can parents do to encourage their kids to be more active?
Well, I think it's not just parents. I think we, as a society, need to make this a cultural norm, and it needs to just be part of everyday life. And certainly, parents need to start with their kids when they're very young, and just be good role models and ensure that physical activity is just part of the family unit in everything that they do. You know, we need to ensure schools have good quality programs that are available to all kids. And then, as a broader community, we need to ensure that we have good policies in place. We need a national physical activity strategy, as an example, and we need to build our communities with physical activity in mind.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Elio Antunes. And that's it from us here, and it's now back to the desk.